today's video, I'm going to be talking to you guys about all of my newborn hacks, tips, tricks, everything that I have learned in the newborn phases with my kids. My daughter is almost 3 years old and my son is 3 months old. So we just went through the newborn phase with him. So I wanted to do this while it was fresh because I didn't realize how much I had forgotten in the 2.5 year age gap that we have with our kids. So hopefully this helps you guys out. Be sure and subscribe to this channel. I post videos almost every single Friday. I didn't post one last video. Sorry about that. We left a little bit earlier for the lake than I was anticipating, so I didn't get it done. But typically I post videos on Friday that are motherhood related, and Mondays I post cleaning and organizational type videos. So be sure and subscribe. First thing I have for you guys is to focus on daytime sleep. That sounds really strange and kind of counterproductive when you're trying to get them to sleep at night. But trust me, if you are trying to put a tired baby down, it is going to be 10 times harder than one that is just kind of starting to get a little bit sleepy. Babies that are overtired just get really fussy. It's very hard to calm them down. It's very hard to get them to sleep. It becomes a much bigger process than it needs to be. And I've definitely found this to be extremely true with my two kids. And when I started focusing on daytime naps and how long they could go during the day before getting really fussy and overly tired and cranky, that is when they really started sleeping better at night and kind of figuring out daytime and nighttime. Because then I started getting a solid routine down, and it started with nap. For whatever reason, that worked so much better. The phrase, the more they sleep, the more they sleep, is very goofy, but it's very true. My daughter, for instance, she's 2, so now she sleeps about 11 hours at night, straight through the night. So if I put her down at 8:30 and she goes to sleep at 8:30, she typically wakes up at 7:30. She still has a 2 to 2.5 hour nap every day. If I don't do that nap with her and I put her down at 8:30, she'll go to sleep at 8:30, but she'll wake up at about 6. So it's definitely true. Kids that are overtired, they just don't sleep quite as well. So I definitely suggest doing a nap time sleep schedule. For example, newborns can only go about an hour before they get overly tired. They just really need to sleep a lot. So with my son, I would do about 45 minutes of kind of awake, kind of playtime, if you will, where they're looking around. So 45 minutes, and then I would get all of his swaddles to get stuff together, and I would change his diaper, make sure he was fed, put him in his swaddles, so that at the hour mark, I'm rocking him and he is going to sleep. So it's not an hour and 15, 20 minutes later. It's at the hour mark, he's starting to go to sleep, and he will go down so easy. Now he's 3 months old, so his sweet spot is about an hour and 15 minutes. It kind of keeps just pushing as they get older. But yeah, so he also now sleeps from 8:30 is when we put him down, and he sleeps till about 8:30 in the morning. And the only time he wakes up is to eat, or I will wake him up and dream feed him. I'll discuss that in a minute. But other than that, he sleeps through that whole stretch. He doesn't wake up and try to play or anything like that, and he does during the day. So that is a huge one. I have positive sleep associations for nap time and for bedtime. I'm sure you guys have heard that term before. I heard it before having kids, but I didn't kind of connect exactly what that meant, so I wanted to touch base with that. For nap time, for example, my son, we do swaddle him, and we do his sound machine, and we just change his diaper, put him in his swaddle, and turn the sound machine on, and then I rock him and put him down for his nap. I always feed him when he wakes up, so I don't feed him typically before his naps. For bedtime, I will kind of dim the lights in his room, and when I say dim the lights, I mean turn the big light off and turn a lamp on. I will turn his sound machine on, and then I will feed him. I nurse him before because I don't want him to associate nursing with sleeping. That to me is not a positive sleep association, because that is something I will have to change later. So his bedtime routine takes about 15 minutes right now. We don't do a very long bath. So to me, that's not a huge deal for me to go in there. I still go in there and dream feed him while he's asleep. So 15 minutes isn't a big deal for me. I would rather feed him first and then have to go in there later. So then that way in a few months from now, he's not associating that with sleep. So that to me is what we have done. I feed him, bathe him, bring him back into his room with just a lamp on, the sound machine on, and then I do his lotions. I give him vitamin D since he's supposed to take that per his pediatrician. And then I put him in his swaddle and I cuddle him and rock him, and then I lay him in his crib. Those are his positive sleep associations. Obviously, do what works for you. If you want to spend an hour playing with your kids versus bathing them and they don't need it, then do the bath in the morning. You know, do something different, whatever works for you guys, so that bedtime can be kind of a special time, and then make it easier on you guys as well. The next one I have for you guys is the Dream Feed, and this is probably my favorite nighttime sleeping hack of all. I was so happy when I found this out because I was still having trouble with my daughter putting her down and getting her to actually sleep well after waking up. She would wake up to eat, and then it was kind of hard to put her down. She was very colicky, so she was uncomfortable, and then it was just hard to get her back asleep. So I found out about this, and it was a game changer for sure. And this is basically, you pick your kid up while they're still asleep, and you like keep them, you know, just hold them like a baby, keep them swaddled, don't wake them up in any way, just pick them up, and then you can either go to nurse them or give them a bottle, whatever you do, and they have they instinctively will latch on or will take the bottle and just start sucking, and they will eat. Now, of course, especially if you're nursing and you're working on your latch, this is going to take a few weeks. My son didn't get this for the first few weeks, but maybe right around week 7 he started doing this. My daughter, I didn't find out with this until a couple months later than that, so I don't know when she would have started. He was probably 7 weeks old when he actually started doing this. Otherwise he would just like still stay asleep. But they will eat, and then you can lay them back down, and then they will sleep through the next sleep cycle because they're not needing to wake up to eat. There's no reason for them to like fully wake up from that sleep cycle because they're comfortable and they're fed and they're full and they don't need to wake up. So I started realizing with my daughter that she would go about, like, let's say maybe 3 hours and 30 minutes. I don't remember exactly, but we'll say that as an example. So at 3 hours and 15 minutes, I would go in and dream feed her, because that way I knew that she was starting to get hungry, but she wasn't fully waking up. So I would feed her, lay her back down, and then she'd be able to go another 3 hours and 15 minutes or whatever the time frame was. And then as she got older, I would realize she wasn't eating nearly as much. So I would kind of push it to maybe 3.5 hours, and then I would go in. But we will put our kids down in their nursery when they first go to bed. So like I said, my husband and I are night owls. We're usually up till probably midnight. That's usually when we go to sleep. So my kids go to sleep right around 8 or 8:30. So like right now, my son sleeps with us in a bassinet beside the bed, and that is recommended. So I think most people do that for a while at least. But I will put him in his crib in his nursery on the other side of the house at 8:30, and then whenever we are about to go to bed at midnight, I will actually bring him into our room, dream feed him, and lay him down in his bassinet. So that way, and I just go in, I go in about 10 o'clock also to dream feed him so that he gets his long night stretch whenever I'm going to bed. So I put him down around 8:30, go in about 10 or 10:30, feed him, and then go in about 12, whenever we're going to bed, feed him, lay him in our bassinet. That is our routine, because with my daughter, I would just put her in our room at the beginning, and then we couldn't figure out, like, we couldn't shower, we couldn't get ready, like nothing, I couldn't do anything at all because we were trying so hard to be quiet and keep everything just as like dark as possible in our room. And I was just like, I just want to shower at the end of the day, especially with her because she spit up so much, and so she spit up on me. So that can be even just such a big relief. I'll lay in bed and watch TV at the end of the night and not have to worry about it, because I have a monitor that I'm watching my son. I know he's sleeping safely because I am awake, fully awake, watching him on the monitor, just like if he were having a nap, so I feel comfortable with him sleeping in there. And then again, I just bring him in when we're ready to go to bed, do the dream feed so that he doesn't wake up fully. He always just goes right back to sleep and then right in his bed. Both of my kids did that, and that worked out so much better for us. You always have the next size up in like a couple of outfits or a couple of sleepers. Definitely, it's kind of hard to gauge how big they're going to be when they're first born, but it's also, I did not realize before I had kids how fast they truly grow. I mean, I seriously have had with both of them a couple of times where it's like, okay, 2 days ago you fit that. Why do you not fit that now? So I would definitely recommend buying at least like maybe 2 sleepers, 2 little outfits that are the next size up. Wash them, have them in a drawer, just ready to go. So that's not something you're having to worry about. If something doesn't fit one night, just you have something ready to go, and then you're not scrambling. And that has just been a very big de-stressor for me. It's just to know that I am prepared for the next one. It doesn't matter if they wake up the next morning and they are already in 3 to 6 months and they were in 0 to 3 yesterday, because I have a sleeper ready to go in the drawer, and I also have another outfit, and we are prepared, people. Another good one for clothing is to pull the onesie down for a blowout. All of the onesies, actually I should take that back, not all of them, but most of onesies for little newborns, and all the way through a lot of sizes actually have little shoulder things that go like this. I'll insert a video because I'm not going to describe this very well. But anyway, if they have a blowout and it goes all the way up their back, you don't want to pull stuff over their head. That's gross. But these little tab things, you can pull them down and then you have a much cleaner area for your baby. You're just pulling it straight down over the diaper area, which is already going to be a mess anyway. So that is fantastic for if you have a messy baby and you don't want to get everything on their face. Another one that I have for you guys is to make sure that you bring a change of clothes for babies. That one's pretty much a given, but you also want to bring a change of clothes for yourself. Just bring a shirt. I would recommend just bringing like kind of a nice black t-shirt. I have like a little v-neck t-shirt that kind of you can dress up or down that I'll take in the diaper bag, because odds are you're gonna get spit up, poop, milk, whatever can end up on your clothing as well. And it's not fun to walk around with your shirt completely soaked. And we, as moms, typically we have prepared everything for the babies and we forget about ourselves. So that's something I learned the hard way and did that, I don't know, probably 5 or 6 times before I actually got that in my head to bring something. My daughter spit up all the time, like projectile vomit spit up. She had really bad colic and reflux. It was a bad combo. I was always soaked. So I always had something for her. I didn't have something for myself. So make sure you put something in the bag for yourself. Make sure that you are staying hydrated and you're eating, especially if you're nursing, you really need to keep your calories up. But honestly, even if you're not, it can be really easy to forget to eat because you're taking care of them, and the newborn phase, you're tired. It's just so much of your brain is just focused on your child, and remembering to eat can kind of be hard. So I like to bring like granola bars or things like that in the diaper bag if I'm going anywhere. If you're feeding them 2 or 3 times at night, putting something in your nightstand is not a bad idea because it can make you extremely, extremely hungry. Also, keeping water by the bed, you'll also get very, very thirsty because they're basically depleting you of calories and fluids. So you want to make sure that you keep yours up and that you stay hydrated. So if you're packing anything for them, pack stuff for yourself as well, so that you can be taking care of yourself too. Another thing that's going to make it very easy on you is to practice nursing with a cover before you go out in public. If you're not somebody that's gonna cover up, that's more power to you. That's totally great. I don't have any issues with that, but I personally am somebody that I just feel more comfortable covering, and neither of my kids have minded, so I have just always gone that route. But with my daughter, it was very hard to figure out how to get her to latch and cover, and it was just very stressful the first couple of times I went out in public because I didn't even think about trying it beforehand because I didn't need to cover up at my house. So I didn't have that thought process before, and I really wish that I had practiced it a couple of times just so I knew how to get it down, because I found myself at a place and I was so frustrated because I couldn't figure out how to hold this up, hold her, and try to figure out how to fix my shirt. It was just so stressful. So if you can practice that a couple of times at home, and then you can make sure that you know if you like the cover that you have, or if you need to find one that maybe covers you more, or whatever it may be, you will not be so stressed going out trying to nurse them, because there's nothing worse than trying to having stress behind just trying to feed your baby. So definitely, if you feel like you do want to use a cover, try it out beforehand. They grow so fast, and they are basically like little daggers on the ends of your precious baby's fingers. They're so sharp, and they scratch their face, and mittens are great for so long, but you obviously do want to figure out how to cut them. That was so hard because they're moving and you can't get them to stop. My kids, I could not do them when they were asleep. That's never worked for me personally, because they would still kind of do the jolting move like that whenever I was trying to do it. So even if I did it while they were asleep, they were still moving. So one thing that I have found that works for me, this sounds so basic, but honestly it helped so much, is to pull the nail, pull their skin back a little bit like that. So pull it back and then slip the little clipper under the nail. So that way you're not just going in blind. Again, I don't know if that fully makes sense. I'll try to insert a little video to show you guys what I'm talking about, but that for sure helped me, and I have not cut their fingers at all doing it this way, and it's just a little bit less stressful. They don't seem to mind it, so hopefully that helps you guys as well. A really good one is to make sure that you stash wipes everywhere, or at least some sort of burp cloth that you know is clean. Just have a spot in every room for wipes. I have some in my kitchen, in my living room, in their bedrooms, in our bedroom. I have some wipes everywhere, because you're never in the right place for them to spit up or for them to have a blowout diaper. They're never gonna do it when you're at home, nothing going on. You can take them to their, changing table. It just does not work that way. At least it hasn't worked that way for me. So having something in every room has been helpful, so that I'm not taking a huge mess somewhere else, because things just happen. So that way I can at least wipe stuff up and then go in and clean it better later, depending on what it is. But it makes things just so much easier to know, oh, I have wipes right here. I can just wipe that up really quick, and then it's not so much of a panic whenever everything just goes crazy.